Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mary, and today's video is going to be some of my favorite tropes as well as some recommendations for books that contain these tropes. These are not really in any particular order. I've been wanting to do a video like this for a while just to do some like bulk recommending of things that I really enjoy, and then also reach out to you guys to see if you know of any books that I did not mention that have these tropes as well, just because, of course, since I like them, I'm always looking for different books that contain these tropes. So without further ado, I'm just going to start with what I would consider to be like my top tier absolute favorite thing in the world, and that is a dystopian trope. I call it the long walk, but I've referenced this before, so if you've been on my channel for a while, you probably have heard of this, but it's essentially when a group of people are like the last alive for whatever reason, and they all are trying to get to the same location. There can be like a rumor spread, and that's why they're trying to get to this location, or it can be that they're all having the same dream, which is what happens in The Stand by Stephen King. But whatever it is, they start meeting along the way of this path to get to this one location where they are all trying to be. And so some recommendations that I have for this trope are The Stand by Stephen King, which is a really long book, but I do recommend it. I think the end is a little wonky, but the journey to get there is so much fun, so I do highly recommend that book. Also, The Book of M by Ping Shepherd, which again follows the same sort of thing. There's a disease that's wiping out big swaths of the population, and one man is trying to find his wife, and along the way he meets all these other people, and they're all going to a singular location. And also a movie series, or like franchise I guess, that has this trope is Resident Evil, which is a zombie franchise that I love. I know it's based on a video game. I never played the game, but the third movie I think is where it really picks up with this trope. Basically what happens is there's a zombie apocalypse, and they hear rumors that there is a colony in Alaska that does not have any zombies yet, so every survivor in this like world is basically trying to get to Alaska. So I love those movies. I've loved them since I was a kid, and I think that is sort of what like spurred my love for this trope. But yes, I absolutely adore this trope. Another trope that I absolutely adore is fake dating in romances. So the quintessential, in my opinion, recommendation for this is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. There's also a movie series on this, which is just as cute as the books, in my opinion. I absolutely love the Netflix adaptation of this series, but this basically follows Laura Jean, who writes these love letters to every boy she's ever had a crush on, and one day the love letters get out, and so to prevent herself from having to confront her feelings for her older sister's ex-boyfriend, who also got a love letter, she fake dates another boy who got a love letter, Peter Kavinsky. And it's like their romance. Very cute. I love that trope. Another adult romance that has that trope is If I Never Met You by Veery McFarlane. And this also is an office romance. So it's two people, sort of like The Hating Game, where they don't really like each other and they like work in the same office. The heroine's former partner of like 12 years or something, they were together a really long time, over 10 years. And he broke up with her. And so they also worked together. So this other coworker that she works with needs to get a promotion, and for some reason he thinks that having a serious relationship will help him get this promotion. So she starts fake dating him. There's also a little bit of an age gap where she's older and he's a little bit younger. I love that book as well. 5 stars, super fun. I highly recommend that one. I would say even, especially if you like The Hating Game, it's not as steamy. I don't think there's any on-page steam, but it was just so well done. And you could really feel the characters like growing together. I really enjoyed that one. And for a film recommendation for this like subgenre, I guess, of romance, I would say 10 Things I Hate About You. I love 10 Things I Hate About You. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. It came out in like 2000, I think, or 1999 maybe. And it's great. Heath Ledger, what is the girl's name? I'm not gonna remember now. Gabrielle Union is in it. Like, it's a fantastic cast. One of my favorite movies of all time. And again, it involves fake dating. Another one of my all-time favorite tropes. I don't know if this is so much a trope as it is a character archetype, but I love in a romance when there is like a really grumpy Mr. Darcy character. So obviously it's called I call the Mr. Darcy love interest. So basically Pride and Prejudice, if you've read that, is Mr. Darcy. Or seen the film, the 2005 adaptation is one of the best film adaptations of all time, in my opinion. I love that movie. It stands as a great movie, but also it's a fantastic adaptation. If you want a YA recommendation that has this sort of grumpy love interest, I don't even need grumpy ex Sunshine. Sunshine kind of gets on my nerves. I just need the main male character to be like brooding and dark and mysterious, and like everyone thinks he's an asshole, but then he's like not an asshole. Like an asshole to everyone except for the love interest. I live for that kind of thing. So Letters to the Lost by Bridget Kemmerer. I read last year and made my top 10 books of the year. I absolutely loved this book. Or was it might have been an honorable mention actually. But regardless, I loved this book. And it's a YA romance. And it's also told mostly through like letters and emails between the characters. That's how they communicate with each other. But they know each other in real life too. And that's where the male love interest is kind of like standoffish and a little mysterious. And the female love interest doesn't really know what to make of him. But yes, I love this. And of course, The Hating Game. By Sally Thorne, which I watched the movie actually last night, and it was cute. I didn't love the movie as much as I loved the book, but I didn't really expect to. I didn't expect to love the book as much as I loved it, but I ended up reading it back to back because it like connected with me so well. So I didn't really expect the movie to hit that level, but also I think the movie is cute if you just want like a fun rom-com-y romp, and I love Lucy Hale. So, okay, the next trope that I have for you is often found in like fantasy books, but also it can be found in non-fantasy books, and it's unlikely friends. And so the way I think of this is like when characters, usually they're like on a quest or they have to do something and it causes them to have to team up with someone who you wouldn't expect them to be like able to be friends with, or like who you wouldn't expect them to want to like team up with to complete a task. No romance, because that would be, I guess, like enemies to lovers or something else. I don't really love that. But when it's like purely, the relationships are like purely just based on friendships, that is when I really, really love this trope. Some people call it like found family, but I think it's like even one step further from that for me. It's like found family, but like with the element of you would never expect these two people to want to team up together. So my favorite example of this is something that I read last year, and that is True Grit by Charles Portis, which involves a little girl whose father gets killed and she teams up with a bounty hunter to get revenge, basically. I love that book. I've never seen the movie, but there are 2 film adaptations, and I have it on good authority that both of them are very good. So at some point I would like to watch that. But yeah, I stan Maddie Ross. So, and I have 2 fantasy recommendations for that. And one of them is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, which follows like a street urchin named Ven who finds out that she has these heightened powers. The magic system in this you've probably heard of if you follow my channel especially, but basically you can ingest different metals and get different powers from them, and usually if you can do this at all, you can only do it with one metal, but some people can do it with all the metals, and they're called Mistborn, and Ven is a Mistborn, and so she has to team up with this like leader of the underground, Kelsier, who is also a Mistborn, so he can train her to use her powers. Unlikely friends. And then Lord of the Rings. And my favorite friendship in this is Legolas the elf and Gimli the dwarf, because elves and dwarves traditionally do not get along, but they have to like work over their differences to help Frodo safely get the ring to Mordor. Love that. Another thing that I really, really love in books is shapeshifting. I love when a character can shapeshift into something else. It's why my favorite Twilight book was always New Moon, because I wanted to hear about the wolves. I did not care about the vampires. It was all about the wolves for me. So, one of my favorite like middle grade series that contains this is actually something that again I read last year, and that is Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Elston. Amari's roommate at the summer camp that she goes to, the magical summer camp, is a girl who can turn into a dragon. She's like a dragon. I don't remember what it's called, but she has like dragon shape-shifting abilities, which is very, very cool. And then of course, pretty much every vampire series has like a werewolf shapeshift thing in it. I'm looking to read Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater, or the Wolves of Mercy Falls, I think is what that series is called, because I know that is about shape-shifting into wolves. Crescent City contains shapeshifters. Danica Fender is like a wolf shapeshifter. There are like lion shapeshifters in that world. Very cool. I love shapeshifters. I wanna hear more about that. That's what I love. That's like my favorite fantasy creature thing, is like werewolf adjacent things. So would kill it in the 70s because they can't cure it, but in like the 2000s they can. This book was really, really fascinating. I loved this one. It also contains one of my other favorite like tropes, I guess, or like subgenres, which is time travel. I love time travel in books. Speaking of time travel, Una Out of Order. A big part of this book is Una has to become really, really comfortable in her relationship with her mother. So, because her mother's the only one who knows that she's living her life out of order. So their relationship is like a really tight bond. And there's like one other character that knows about it, but that is like, was one of my favorite parts of reading that book, was Una's relationship with her mom and the way that they like got along sometimes and when they didn't get along. And finally, the Kiss Quotient series by Helen Hoang. All of the male love interests in these books are related. So I think Michael is the one in this book, and I believe it's his cousins, or maybe it's his brother is the guy in the second book and his cousin is the guy in the third book, or he is cousins with both the guys in the second and third book. I think his brother is in the second book. I can't remember, frankly, and I apologize. But they're all related, and seeing them interact is like one of my favorite parts of that series as well. So that's it. Those are some of my all-time favorite tropes and some book recommendations that contain those tropes, as well as some movie recommendations that contain those tropes. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite trope is, and also let me know if you know of any books / movies, because I'm always down to watch a movie, that contain some of these tropes that you think I would enjoy. Because obviously I like the tropes, I would like to experience them more. Please and thank you. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it to this point, give it a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to my channel. I post 2 videos every single week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!